In the desolate confines of Blackthorn Penitentiary, where shadows clung to the cold, unforgiving walls, a prisoner named Ethan Drake awoke to a chilling silence. The air hung heavy with the foreboding stillness that gripped the once bustling prison. As Ethan's eyes adjusted to the dim light filtering through the barred window, he noticed an eerie absence. The usual cacophony of distant footsteps, echoing shouts, and the jangling of keys had vanished. It was as if the very soul of the prison had been swallowed by an ominous void. Confused and disoriented, Ethan rose from his cold metal bunk, only to discover that the cell door remained firmly locked. He rattled the bars, but there was no response. Panic set in, as he realized he was alone in a seemingly abandoned prison, yet trapped within the confines of his cell. The supernatural stillness hung in the air, intensifying the mystery that shrouded Blackthorn Penitentiary. Ethan's mind raced with questions. Had there been an evacuation, an escape, or something more sinister at play? The oppressive silence seemed to mock him, offering no clues. Driven by a desperate need for answers, Ethan explored the desolate corridors of the prison. Each step echoed through empty halls that reverberated with the ghosts of a forgotten past. As he ventured deeper, cryptic symbols appeared on the walls, painted in hues of darkness that seemed to writhe with an otherworldly energy. In the heart of the prison, Ethan discovered a chamber cloaked in an unnatural gloom. A malevolent force pulsed within, and the walls seemed to breathe with an unseen presence. It was then that he glimpsed a manifestation of his deepest fears, a spectral figure that materialized from the shadows. The apparition spoke in haunting whispers, revealing the prison's dark history. Long ago, a ritual had been conducted to bind malevolent entities within the walls, ensuring the imprisonment of both the living and the supernatural. The ritual, however, had inadvertently unlocked a gateway between the realms. Ethan's confinement was no mere oversight. He was chosen to serve as the vessel for the imprisoned spirits. The spectral figure offered him a choice: accept his role in maintaining the delicate balance or face the wrath of the unleashed entities. As the truth unfolded, the prison quivered with a malevolent energy, sealing Ethan's fate within its walls. The echoing emptiness resumed its eerie symphony, the supernatural prison reclaiming its place in the shadows. Ethan, now aware of his spectral entanglement, felt the weight of the supernatural forces bearing down on him. The prison became a realm where the boundary between the living and the ethereal blurred, and he grappled with the daunting responsibility laid upon his shoulders. In the ghostly stillness, Ethan sought to understand the nature of the entities he now harbored within him. Whispers of sorrow, anger, and despair echoed in his mind as he navigated the labyrinthine corridors. The prison itself seemed to pulse with a malevolent heartbeat, its walls etched with the stories of the tormented souls, tethered to its existence. As Ethan delved into the history of the prison, he uncovered the tales of those who had met tragic fates within its confines. The ghosts yearned for release, and their collective energy resonated with an ominous power that had kept the prison standing for centuries. Driven by empathy for the imprisoned spirits, Ethan embarked on a perilous journey to find a way to free both the living and the dead from this spectral prison. The labyrinth of the supernatural proved treacherous, filled with illusions that twisted reality and challenged his sanity. The key to unraveling the curse lay in an ancient chamber, hidden deep within the bowels of Blackthorn Penitentiary. Guided by the whispers of the tormented souls, Ethan navigated the shifting corridors until he stood before a massive, ornate door adorned with eldritch symbols. As he opened the door, a blinding light enveloped him, transporting him to a surreal realm where the boundaries between the physical and spiritual dissolved. The spirits, now manifesting as ethereal entities, surrounded him in a haunting tableau. The air crackled with a mixture of anguish and anticipation. In the heart of this spectral plane, Ethan encountered the ethereal embodiment of the malevolent force that had kept the entities captive. A formidable entity, neither living nor dead, confronted him, demanding a sacrifice to maintain the balance between worlds. Ethan faced an impossible choice: accept his fate as a vessel for the supernatural forces, or confront the entity in a battle of wills. With the echoes of the tormented souls resonating within him, he chose to challenge the malevolent force, determined to break the cycle of imprisonment. The ensuing confrontation unleashed a cataclysmic surge of energy, shaking the very foundations of the prison. As the ethereal entities were freed, their anguished cries transformed into triumphant echoes, fading into the depths of the afterlife. In the aftermath, Blackthorn Penitentiary stood silent, its cursed legacy shattered. The prison, no longer a nexus of supernatural entrapment, crumbled into ruins. Ethan, now liberated from the spectral burden, emerged into the world, forever changed by the echoes of the void. Alice's evening jog took an unexpected turn as she rounded a secluded path in the dimming twilight. The rhythmic pounding of her footsteps was abruptly disrupted by the stark sight of a lifeless, bloodied body sprawled on the ground. A shiver ran down her spine, and the mystery of the scene unfolded before her. The ominous atmosphere intensified as Alice's gaze fixated on the lifeless form. A quickened heartbeat resonated with the chilling realization that she was entangled in a web of intrigue. Panic set in, accentuated by the obscure shadows that seemed to dance with malevolence. As she fumbled for her phone to call the police, a peculiar clicking sound echoed in the air, breaking the silence of the desolate surroundings. The mysterious noise, like the ticking of an otherworldly clock, amplified the suspense that hung in the air. Alice's breath caught in her throat as she instinctively scanned her surroundings. A dark figure emerged from the shadows, its form obscured by the ominous dusk. The rhythmic clicking sound now synchronized with the figure's approach, creating an eerie symphony of dread. Fear clawed at Alice's senses as she realized she was not alone in the aftermath of this macabre discovery. Compelled by a surge of adrenaline, Alice sprinted away from the crime scene, her heart pounding in sync with the ominous clicking that pursued her. The dark figure, an enigma in pursuit, seemed to glide effortlessly through the encroaching darkness, its presence an embodiment of the supernatural. Alice's mind raced with questions, and the mystery deepened as she navigated the labyrinth of the night. The police, responding swiftly to her call, arrived to find the lifeless body, but the enigmatic figure had vanished into the shadows, leaving no trace behind. In the aftermath of that haunting night, Alice found herself haunted by the memory of the clicking sounds and the specter that pursued her. The investigation into the mysterious death unfolded, revealing a tapestry of secrets, deceit, and a darkness that lurked in the periphery of the ordinary. Alice, haunted by the events of that fateful evening, became determined to unravel the enigma that had thrust her into the realm of the supernatural. As the police investigation unfolded, the town's ominous undercurrents began to surface, painting a portrait of malevolent forces that defied explanation. The mysterious death, initially perceived as a singular tragedy, proved to be a mere thread in the tapestry of a larger conspiracy. Dark secrets, long buried beneath the facade of normalcy, started to emerge. The supernatural and the mundane collided, blurring the lines between reality and the unexplained. Alice delved into the archives of the town's history, unearthing tales of occult rituals, long-forgotten vendettas, and a police force struggling to contain forces beyond their understanding. The more she uncovered, the clearer it became that her encounter with the lifeless body and the enigmatic figure was merely a glimpse into a world obscured by shadows. As she ventured deeper into the heart of the mystery, Alice found herself entangled in a web of supernatural occurrences that transcended the boundaries of the known. Eerie happenings, whispers of a malevolent presence, and a series of unexplained deaths created an ominous backdrop to her investigation. The town, once thought of as ordinary, revealed its dark underbelly, a convergence of horror and mystery that echoed through the generations. Alice's pursuit of the truth led her to cryptic symbols, ancient texts, and a police force grappling with the realization that they were dealing with forces beyond their comprehension. The enigma that started with a woman stumbling upon a crime scene now enveloped an entire community in the clutches of the supernatural. Alice's journey became a race against time as she sought to decipher the cryptic messages left by the otherworldly forces and prevent an impending catastrophe that threatened to plunge the town into eternal darkness. As she confronted the malevolent entity orchestrating the mysterious events, Alice discovered that the clicking sounds were a harbinger of a supernatural force seeking retribution. The line between investigator and witness blurred, and she found herself entwined in a battle against an ancient evil that sought to claim the souls of the unsuspecting town. In the final confrontation between Alice and the malevolent force, The town stood at the precipice of an otherworldly abyss. The mysteries that had long festered in the shadows were laid bare, and the fate of the community hung in the balance.